How desire is created, not forced. Speech. Desire is one of the most misunderstood forces in human connection. Most people believe desire should be constant, automatic, and unconditional, that if it fades, something must be wrong. But desire doesn't work on demand. It responds to conditions. You cannot pressure someone into wanting you. You cannot negotiate attraction. And you cannot perform your way into genuine desire. Desire is not obedience. It is a response. Desire is created in the space where safety and stimulation meet. When someone feels emotionally secure yet free, seen but not controlled, desire has room to breathe. The moment pressure enters, desire exits. This is why trying harder often backfires. The more someone pushes for reassurance, attention, or validation, the more the nervous system contracts. Desire requires choice. Choice requires freedom. Understanding desire changes how you date, love, and relate. It shifts you from chasing reactions to creating environments, from forcing outcomes to cultivating connection. This is not about manipulation, it's about awareness. When you understand how desire works, you stop blaming yourself or others and start responding intentionally. Let us talk about how desire is created, why forcing it fails, and what actually makes attraction sustainable. 5 key points of the speech. 1. Desire responds to emotional safety. Desire doesn't grow where someone feels judged, pressured, or emotionally unsafe. It emerges when the nervous system feels relaxed and respected. 2. Freedom is a requirement for attraction. Desire needs autonomy. When someone feels controlled or obligated, attraction fades, even if love remains. 3. Desire thrives on presence, not performance. Trying to impress or overperform creates anxiety. Desire grows when people are present, authentic, and attuned. 4. Emotional distance and curiosity fuel desire. Healthy space, mystery, and individuality keep desire alive. Fusion and overattachment suffocate it. 5. Desire is a response, not a reward. Desire cannot be earned through effort or sacrifice. It emerges naturally when conditions are right. Key point 1 expanded. Desire responds to emotional safety. Desire does not begin in the body. It begins in the nervous system. Before attraction can deepen, the brain must decide whether it feels safe enough to relax. Emotional safety is not about comfort alone. It's about the absence of threat, pressure, and judgment. Without it, desire struggles to exist. When someone feels emotionally unsafe, their body moves into protection. This can look like withdrawal, distraction, irritability, or loss of interest. Desire fades not because attraction is gone, but because the nervous system is prioritizing survival over connection. Emotional safety means feeling accepted as you are. It's the ability to express thoughts, boundaries, and emotions without fear of punishment or withdrawal of affection. When someone feels they must perform, please, or suppress themselves to maintain connection, desire shuts down. This is why criticism, sarcasm, or emotional unpredictability damages attraction over time. Even subtle signals, dismissive tone, defensiveness, or lack of presence, communicate emotional risk. The body notices these signals faster than the mind does. Pressure is one of the biggest threats to desire. When someone demands closeness, reassurance, or intimacy, it activates resistance. Desire requires choice. Choice disappears under pressure. Ironically, many people apply pressure because they feel insecure or disconnected. They seek closeness to feel safe, but the method they use makes safety harder to access for the other person. This creates a cycle where the more one person pursues, the more the other withdraws. Emotional safety also involves consistency. When someone's behavior is unpredictable, affectionate one moment, distant the next, the nervous system stays alert. Desire may spike briefly due to uncertainty, but sustainable attraction requires reliability. Boundaries play a crucial role here. Respecting limits signals trustworthiness. When boundaries are honored, emotional safety increases. When they're ignored, desire erodes. It's important to understand that emotional safety doesn't mean emotional intensity. Loud declarations, constant closeness, or dramatic gestures don't create safety. Calm presence does, being listened to, being believed, being met without urgency. Many adults confuse desire with anxiety. A racing heart and obsessive thinking can feel like passion, but often it's the nervous system reacting to uncertainty. Real desire feels grounded, not frantic. Sex education rarely teaches this. People are taught how to attract attention, not how to create safety. But without safety, attraction has nowhere to land. The truth is simple and confronting. Desire is not created by wanting harder. It's created by making it safe to want. When emotional safety exists, desire doesn't need to be forced. It emerges naturally, quietly, and powerfully. Key point 2, expanded. Freedom is a requirement for attraction. Desire cannot exist where someone feels trapped. Attraction needs freedom the same way fire needs oxygen. The moment a person feels controlled, monitored, or obligated, desire begins to collapse, not out of rebellion, but out of self-protection. Freedom in this context doesn't mean emotional distance or lack of commitment. It means autonomy, the sense that you are choosing connection rather than being cornered into it. Desire grows when someone feels they get to connect, not when they have to. Many people unknowingly undermine attraction by tightening their grip when they feel insecure. They seek reassurance, constant contact, or exclusivity too early, believing closeness will create desire. In reality, this removes the very conditions desire needs to survive. Psychologically, attraction requires agency. When someone feels watched, evaluated, or pressured to meet emotional needs, their nervous system responds by pulling away. The body resists obligation even when the mind wants closeness. This explains why desire often fades in relationships where one partner becomes emotionally dependent. Love may still exist, but attraction weakens under the weight of responsibility. Desire wants mutual presence, not emotional caretaking. Freedom also includes the right to say no. When no is respected, yes becomes meaningful. When no is punished, through guilt, withdrawal, or conflict, desire learns that intimacy is unsafe. Over time, the body disconnects from wanting altogether. Healthy attraction exists between two whole individuals, not two halves clinging together. Maintaining personal interests, friendships, and identity outside the relationship protects desire. It reminds the nervous system that connection is a choice, not a survival strategy. Space is not the enemy of intimacy. Fusion is. When people merge their identities, desire loses contrast. Mystery disappears. Curiosity fades. Attraction thrives on the sense that the other person exists independently. This is why emotional self-regulation matters. When someone can soothe themselves, manage anxiety, and maintain their own stability, they become more attractive. They offer connection without demand. Freedom also creates polarity. When each person stands grounded in themselves, desire flows naturally between them. There is tension, curiosity, and magnetism, not because of games, but because autonomy is intact. Many adults fear freedom because they associate it with loss. But true connection doesn't disappear when freedom exists. It strengthens. People stay not because they're trapped, but because they want to. Sex education rarely addresses this. It focuses on attachment without autonomy, closeness without space. The result is relationships filled with love but starving for desire. The truth is clear. Desire cannot be negotiated. It can only be invited. When freedom is present, attraction doesn't need to be chased. It finds its way back on its own. Key point 3, expanded. Desire thrives on presence, not performance. One of the biggest myths about attraction is that desire grows when you do more, try harder, or impress better. In reality, desire weakens under performance and strengthens under presence. Presence is about being emotionally, mentally, and physically engaged in the moment without an agenda. Performance shifts attention outward. You start monitoring how you look, how you're being received, whether you're enough. This creates anxiety. Anxiety activates the nervous system in a way that blocks desire. The body can't feel turned on while it's busy evaluating itself. Presence does the opposite. It brings awareness inward. When someone is present, they notice sensation, emotion, and connection as it unfolds. There's no pressure to produce an outcome. Desire feels invited, not demanded. Performance often comes from fear of rejection, abandonment, or not being chosen. People overfunction emotionally, sexually, or conversationally to secure connection. Ironically, this effort communicates neediness, which reduces attraction. Presence communicates safety and confidence. It says, I'm here with you, not trying to control your response. This creates space for genuine desire to arise. Many adults confuse intensity with intimacy. They think passion means constant stimulation, dramatic expression, or high energy. But true desire often emerges in quiet moments. Eye contact, shared laughter, emotional attunement. Performance also disconnects people from their bodies. When you're focused on doing it right, you stop listening to what actually feels good. Desire becomes mechanical instead of alive. Presence allows curiosity. It lets people slow down, check in, and respond authentically. When both partners are present, intimacy becomes co-created rather than executed. In long-term relationships, performance is especially damaging. Scripts get old, techniques lose impact. What keeps desire alive is attention, being seen, felt, and emotionally met. Presence also invites honesty. When people feel free to express what they want or don't want without fear, trust deepens. Trust strengthens desire. Sex education rarely teaches presence. It teaches how to impress, not how to connect. But connection is what desire responds to. Another overlooked aspect is self-presence. Being attuned to your own emotions and needs makes you more attractive. People who are disconnected from themselves struggle to connect deeply with others. The adult truth is this: you don't create desire by proving your worth. You create it by being real. When presence replaces performance, attraction stops feeling exhausting and starts feeling natural. Desire doesn't need to be forced. It emerges when people are allowed to simply be. Key point 4, expanded emotional distance and curiosity fuel. Desire needs space to breathe. One of the most misunderstood truths about attraction is that constant closeness does not create desire. Contrast does. Emotional distance, when healthy and intentional, keeps curiosity alley. Without curiosity, desire fades. This doesn't mean playing games or withdrawing to manipulate. It means allowing each person to remain an individual, not dissolving into the relationship completely. Desire is sparked by the feeling that there is still something to discover. When two people become emotionally fused, sharing every thought, regulating each other's emotions, needing constant reassurance, attraction loses polarity. Everything becomes predictable. Predictability is safe, but desire needs some mystery to stay awake. Curiosity arises when you don't have full access to another person's inner world all the time. When someone has their own passions, friendships, thoughts, and emotional life, they remain interesting. Desire asks, who are you today? Not, I already know everything about you. Emotional distance also allows longing. Longing is not lack, it's anticipation. When people never miss each other, desire has no reason to activate. The nervous system needs pauses to feel pull again. Many adults fear distance because they associate it with abandonment. They respond by overconnecting, checking in excessively, or collapsing boundaries. This creates emotional pressure. Pressure suffocates desire. Healthy distance is regulated, not avoidant. It doesn't come from fear of intimacy. It comes from confidence in connection. It says, we are connected, and I also exist as myself. Curiosity dies when people stop showing up as evolving individuals. Growth keeps desire. Alive. When someone is learning, changing, or exploring, they remain engaging. Stagnation dulls attraction, no matter how much love exists. This is why independence is attractive, not emotional unavailability, but emotional self-sufficiency. When someone can hold themselves, desire doesn't feel like a responsibility. It feels like a choice. Emotional distance also protects desire during conflict. When people allow space instead of forcing resolution immediately, the nervous system calms. Curiosity replaces defensiveness. Desire recovers more easily. Sex education rarely teaches this balance. People are taught to merge, not to maintain polarity. The result is closeness without attraction. The key is balance. Too much distance creates disconnection. Too little creates suffocation. Desire lives in the middle, where connection exists, but individuality remains intact. The adult truth is this: desire needs room to wander. When emotional distance is healthy and curiosity is protected, attraction doesn't need to be chased. It stays alive because there is always more to explore. Key point 5 expanded. Desire is a response, not a reward. One of the most damaging myths about attraction is the belief that desire can be earned. Many people grow up thinking that if they are good enough, patient enough, or self-sacrificing enough, desire will eventually be given to them in return. But desire doesn't work like a prize for effort. Desire is a response, not a reward. When people treat desire as a reward, relationships become transactional. Love turns into performance. Intimacy becomes something owed. This creates pressure, resentment, and emotional imbalance, all of which shut desire down. Desire responds to how someone feels in your presence, not to how much you give up for them. Sacrifice without authenticity doesn't create attraction, it creates obligation. And obligation is the enemy of desire. This is why people often feel confused when they do everything right and still feel unwanted. They are offering effort when what desire responds to is energy, emotional, psychological, and relational energy. Desire emerges when someone feels safe, free, curious, and emotionally engaged. It responds to presence, not persistence. The moment intimacy becomes a duty, the body resists. Reward-based thinking also leads to resentment. When desire doesn't appear after effort, people feel cheated. They may withdraw, become bitter, or escalate pressure. This deepens the disconnection. Healthy desire is mutual and spontaneous. It cannot be forced through negotiation or guilt. When someone tries to secure desire through sacrifice, they often lose touch with themselves. Self-abandonment erodes attraction faster than any argument. Desire also cannot be controlled by morality. Being kind, loyal, or committed does not guarantee attraction. Those qualities support love and trust, but desire requires emotional vitality, autonomy, and safety. This doesn't mean effort is useless. Effort matters when it supports the conditions desire needs. Communication, emotional regulation, and respect all help, but effort aimed at earning desire backfires. Another trap of reward-based desire is staying in relationships where attraction is consistently absent. People keep giving, hoping desire will return. Over time, this damages self-worth and creates emotional exhaustion. Adult sex education rarely addresses this truth. People are taught to try harder instead of listening to what desire is communicating. Desire fading is information, not a moral failure. Understanding desire as a response changes everything. It shifts the focus from control to awareness, from earning to inviting. The adult truth is simple and liberating. You cannot earn desire by disappearing yourself. When you stop treating desire like something owed and start treating it like a signal, relationships become more honest. Desire returns not because it's demanded, but because it's allowed to respond naturally to the right conditions. Conclusion: how desire is created, not forced. Paragraph 1. Desire was never meant to be controlled, negotiated, or demanded. It is a natural response that emerges when the nervous system feels safe, free, and emotionally engaged. When we stop blaming ourselves or others for changes in attraction, we begin to see desire for what it truly is. Communication from the body, not rejection. Paragraph 2. Emotional safety creates the foundation for desire, but freedom gives it room to exist. Attraction cannot survive where pressure, obligation, or emotional dependency dominate. When connection is chosen rather than required, desire feels lighter, more genuine, and far more sustainable. Paragraph 3. Presence, not performance, is what makes intimacy real. When people stop trying to impress and start showing up authentically, desire has space to respond. Performance creates anxiety, presence creates connection. And connection is what desire listens to most. Paragraph 4. Healthy distance and curiosity protect desire over time. Love does not mean merging into one identity. It means staying connected while remaining whole. When curiosity is alive and individuality is respected, attraction doesn't need to be chased. It renews itself naturally. Paragraph 5. Desire is never a reward for effort or sacrifice. It responds to emotional truth, not obligation. When adults understand this, relationships become more honest, self-respecting, and emotionally sustainable. Desire doesn't disappear when it's respected. It returns when the conditions are right. Thank you and goodbye note. Thank you for listening with openness and curiosity. If this conversation helped you see desire, attraction, or relationships with more clarity, then it has already served its purpose. Take this understanding with you into how you connect, how you communicate, and how you choose intimacy. Thank you for being here, and goodbye.